What Jesus told his disciples before he was raised. In the name of God, the one God of Abraham, before theology hardened into creeds, before councils voted on belief, and before empire shaped doctrine, Jesus of Nazareth spoke privately, to those closest to him, not to crowds, not to rulers, but to his disciples. If we want to understand who Jesus believed himself to be, what he taught about God, and how he understood what would come after him, we must begin here. Part 1. Do the Gospels agree on Jesus' final words? There are 4 canonical Gospels, and they do not preserve Jesus' final teachings in the same way the Gospel of John records. Long reflective conversations, often called the farewell discourse. But the Gospel of Matthew does not preserve this long discourse. The Gospel of Mark, in its earliest manuscripts, appears to end abruptly, with no extended farewell speech at all. And the Gospel of Luke summarizes Jesus' final words briefly, then continues the story. In the book of Acts, there is no single script, but there is a consistent message. Part 2. Jesus' core teaching, God is one. When Jesus is asked what the greatest commandment is, he does not speak about himself. In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 12, verse 29, Jesus says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." This is ancient monotheism. And in the Gospel of John, chapter 17, verse 3, Jesus prays to God and says, "This is eternal life, that they know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent." Notice the distinction. Jesus speaks to God and speaks of himself as the one sent. When Jesus teaches prayer in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9, he teaches, "Our Father in heaven." He does not teach people to pray to him. Part 3. Did Jesus come to change the law? In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17, Jesus says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." He then continues in verse 18, "Until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen, will disappear from the law." And in verse 19, Jesus issues a warning. Anyone who sets aside even the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. This is not repeal. This is continuity. Jesus affirms obedience to God's law. Part 4. Jesus' farewell and the test he gave. In the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verses 13 and 14, Jesus says, "He will not speak on his own authority. He will speak only what he hears, and he will glorify me." This is the test. Not miracles, not power, not popularity, but direction. Where does the message lead? Part 5. Applying the test. If someone came after Jesus and erased him, that would not glorify Jesus. If someone came after Jesus and dismissed his purity, his birth, or his mission, that would not glorify Jesus. But if someone came after Jesus and honored him as the Messiah, affirmed his miraculous birth, defended his righteousness, and made belief in him a matter of faith, then by Jesus' own test, that claim deserves serious examination. Part 6. A breadcrumb toward Paul. Jesus affirms God is one. Worship belongs to God alone. The law is not abolished. Obedience matters. That prepares us for a later question, not an accusation. If teachings appear later that remove obedience to God's law or redefine righteousness entirely, we judge them, not emotionally, but by Jesus' own words. Closing. So when we ask, what did Jesus tell his disciples before he was raised? The answer is consistent. God is one. Worship God alone. The law is affirmed, and truth is recognized. By where it leads. In the next episode, we will examine the Paraclete passages, line by line, directly from the Gospel of John. Truth before tribe. Two brothers, one mission, one God.